My name is Itauma. Moses Itauma. I think he's a great fighter. The young, 20 years, yeah?
And that's why you got to watch it and find out. But one thing I will say about Moses is he's a very good fighter, good little boxer, good puncher, and a lovely kid as well. It's like a sponge.
Why are you taking this fight? Because this kid is on fire right now, and he's getting better and better. It's not like he's going backwards; he's going forward.
Moses Itauma is just 20 years old, but already the boxing world is talking about him like he's a future champion. Fighters, coaches, and analysts alike are calling him one of the most terrifying young heavyweights in the sport today. Tyson Fury himself has praised Moses, describing him as powerful, disciplined, and hungry to learn. According to Fury, Moses is like a sponge. He absorbs everything. Listen.
That's a good fight, actually, especially for Moses. I think it's a very good time to fight Dillian. He's had a couple of years out the ring. But, make no mistakes, Dillian Whyte is a massive puncher. It's a head and body. I know he's taking it very serious. I'm speaking to Ty Mitchell, who's in training camp with him. And looking forward to the fight. It's a big step up for Moses because he hasn't really fought anybody on Dillian's level. The old Dillian, it was a couple of years ago. And it's going to be interesting to see how much that Dillian Whyte has left. And could this be potential? I think it does have the potential to do what Martin McCauley did to Jared Anderson. Maybe it's too early, or maybe he passes with flying colours. And that's why you got to watch it and find out. But one thing I will say about Moses is he's a very good fighter, good little boxer, good puncher, and a lovely kid as well. It's like a sponge. You tell him something, he absorbs it and he listens. And that's the great thing about the young kids who's coming up. And he's only 20 years old. I told him a few years ago, forget about breaking records, take your time, you've only got one career, and just enjoy it because I remember when I was 19, 20, and now 36 has gone like that, very quick.
Closely and keeps improving. Facing a dangerous veteran like Dillian Whyte at such a young age shows not only confidence, but also the talent to back it up. Alexander Usyk, widely regarded as one of the most technically skilled boxers of this generation, has also given Moses his respect. Usyk didn't hesitate to call him a great young fighter, impressed by both his maturity and his physical strength. For a 20-year-old to earn recognition from Usyk says everything about just how real this kid's talent is. But Moses isn't just a fighter with raw power. Behind the scenes, his coaches talk about his passion for boxing's history. Like Mike Tyson.
My name is Itauma. Moses Itauma. I think he's a great fighter. The young, 20 years, yeah?
20.
Yeah, 20 years. I think Itauma have big future.
Tyson before him, Moses studies the greats. He watches their tapes, reads about their struggles, and learns from the way they built their legacies. That dedication sets him apart from other prospects who only focus on today's opponents. Even outside of the gym, his obsession with improving never stops. Coaches recall him sending sparring clips at 2 in the morning, asking if he's getting the movements right. His maturity, composure, and drive to keep learning make him stand out. Many are already comparing his aggressive style, compact power punches, and mental focus to a young Mike Tyson. Some even believe
I think probably the biggest comparison I would say is how Mike Tyson loved the game, would always study fighters of the past, etc. Moses has that same love for it.
Does he?
Yeah, like we'll send him his sparring at 2 a.m. He'll be texting us clips like, is this more what you want?
He's a student.
Yeah, he absolutely loves it. And that's that, along with his maturity at his age.
Very composed, isn't he? Very composed. Yeah.
That is what is allowing him to achieve what he's achieving at such a young age.
Yeah.
Because there's lots of talented fighters out there, but not many that
can execute it on the back of it, yeah.
could win a world title before he turns 21. Still, critics argue that he's being fast-tracked too soon. Jared Anderson, for example, faced stronger opposition in his first 12 fights than Moses has so far. Yet Moses is already being labelled as the next Tyson. Whether that's hype or destiny remains to be seen. What's certain is that Moses didn't become this polished overnight. From the age of 18, observers noticed his sharp footwork, clean combinations, and calm demeanor. Despite having only around 22 amateur fights, far fewer than most polished prospects, Moses looked.
Is Moses Itauma being babied? Jared Anderson had better opposition in his first 12 fights than Moses Itauma. Guaranteed without a doubt. Guaranteed without a doubt. He had better opposition. But Jared gets criticized. And, you know, here we have a guy like Moses being called potentially the next Mike Tyson. They believe he can win a world title under 21 years old.
Ready for the professional stage immediately. Veteran heavyweights like Derek Chisora have even questioned why Dillian Whyte would take a fight against such a dangerous young talent. While Dillian has the experience, he's been inactive, while Moses has been sharpening his craft every day. Some believe Whyte might not last more than a handful of rounds if Moses truly lets his power go. Others warn that this could be too big of a step up. Whyte has fought world-class opponents, and his experience could expose flaws that Moses has never had to deal with. Analysts remind fans that heavyweights don't usually mature until their late 20s, so maybe
one so young, to be as athletic as he is, look as polished as he is. Bear in mind, I interviewed Moses Itauma before his pro debut, and one of the questions I really wanted to ask him was how many amateur fights he'd had. For someone who looked so polished and was turning pro so young, bear in mind he'd only just turned 18 at the time, right? This is 2 years ago, nearly 3 years ago now. I really wanted to know how many amateur fights he had to look as polished as he did. And in that interview, he told me it was something like 22, 23 amateur fights, which is really, it's quite a low amount. It was a bit of a kind of land when he said it. I remember at the time thinking, huh? And then obviously you're interviewing, so you want to try and get the next question. You don't want to be just stopped in your tracks, but it genuinely nearly did stop me in my tracks, given how polished he looked and how good he looked. You know, I was thinking, yikes, that's actually a bit of a strange one for someone to look that polished in such short of a time. And he's obviously been fighting good amateurs, and obviously he's not one of these amateurs like Anthony Yarde, no offense, who had 10 amateur fight against low level, probably wasn't doing a great deal of sparring, but just had that natural ability. All right, just had it.
Moses should still take time to grow. But boxing is high risk, high reward. Beating Whyte would launch Moses into the global spotlight, giving him credibility among the division's elite. Losing would slow him down, but at just 20 years old, he would have time to rebuild. Analysts like Spencer Oliver believe that no matter what, this is the right kind of test. Every fighter reaches a moment where they must prove whether they are hype or the real deal. For Moses, that moment may be August 16th in Saudi Arabia, when he steps into the ring with Whyte. Moses' work ethic is another reason why many see him as...
I had a phone call a couple of weeks ago. They offered me to fight Moses Itauma in Saudi. You know, I said, how much? He said, 2 million. I said, nah, I'm out. I even phoned Dylan. I was like, Dylan, I don't know why you're taking this fight, you know, because this kid is on fire right now. And he's getting better and better. It's not like he's going backwards, he's going forward.
One of the reasons he is taking it is that Moses is WBO #1 at the moment, so that there's some kind of light at the end of the tunnel for Dillian taking that fight.
Ain't no light at the end of that tunnel.
I agree with you. I think Moses... I don't think Dillian gets beyond 4 or 5 rounds.
Yeah. You're crazy. Yeah. There's no light in that tunnel. That kid is... No, you mad. No way. Even Lawrence Okoli said Moses is bad.
Destined for greatness. Even in brutal conditions, freezing temperatures, icy terrain, and uphill runs at high altitude, he never skipped training. That kind of dedication is what separates champions from contenders. Boxing insiders believe Moses is not just talented, but a future superstar of British boxing. At just 20, he has shown the poise, maturity, and skill of someone much older. When asked about facing someone like Usyk in the future, Moses showed both confidence and humility, acknowledging Usyk's greatness, but also making it clear
Can he still use them? It's a common opinion that Moses is a great prospect. He's got all the talent in the world, but as a professional, he's untested. I think Dylan sees this as a perfect opportunity to shut the hype train on Itauma, beat this young prospect who everyone's shouting about and get the light back on him. But the problem is, if he loses, he's got nowhere to go. It's game over. But this is boxing. High risk, high reward, or scrambling at the bottom of the heap. We know that Moses wanted to beat Mike Tyson's record in becoming the youngest heavyweight champion of the world, but he's missed that now. So we know he wants to move fast and test himself. He's reaching for greatness, but as the saying goes, you can't put an old head on young shoulders. So maybe he's biting off more than he can chew. From his point of view, beating a veteran like Dillian Whyte will give him credibility. You know, put him in the mix with the top guys. I'm definitely a fan of Moses. He's got the skill, the talent, the work ethic, and the mindset. The only thing he lacks is experience. And I suppose the only way to get it is to fight these guys. In the fight business, you've got to have thick skin because there's always going to be doubters. It's part of the game. Personally, I don't see the rush. There's so many good fights, even at domestic level. He's only 20. I just feel he's got time on his side. He needs time to mature. Heavyweights don't mature till late 20s. I just see so much value going the traditional route. English, British, Commonwealth, European, then world honours. In my opinion, it's so important. That's your apprenticeship. Gradually learning the game, gaining experience, and each time you pass the test, you step up. This type of progression builds the foundations. There's a reason why the greats...
He wouldn't hesitate to take that kind of fight. He's also made it known that he wants tough British opponents, mentioning names like Solomon Dakers, David Adelai, and Johnny Fisher as stepping stones on his journey. Trainers like Andy Lee, who works with Joseph Parker, see Moses as the future of the heavyweight division and believe that even Parker himself may one day be tested by him. Legendary trainer Teddy Atlas has offered advice too, stressing that raw power isn't enough. To become a complete fighter, Moses must keep building his foundation, facing durable opponents, and proving that he has the staying power of a true champion. So the question is Moses Itauma moving too fast, or is he simply proving that greatness doesn't wait? At just 20 years old, he's already capturing the imagination of fans, the respect of legends, and the fear of rivals. Whatever happens on August 16th, one thing is clear: Moses Itauma is not just another prospect. He's a storm building in the heavyweight division, and the boxing world is watching closely. That's it for today's breakdown. Stay tuned for more, and until next time, please like and subscribe my YouTube channel.